G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website Kangaroo Court of Australia. Now, on Sunday the 26th of June 2022, I published an article in relation to John Barilaro and will his fraud, theft and sexual affairs take down the New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet, because there's going to be at least two inquiries. Dominic Perrottet set up an inquiry himself, which is to cover his own arse, because he apparently doesn't know what he knew and when he knew it. So he's followed old former Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison's routine and set up his own inquiry. The inquiry is nothing but a whitewash to protect him. The head of the government department, Department of Prime Minister, Premier I mean, Michael Coates-Trotter was meant to do the inquiry, but he's farmed it out to someone else. He's got a so-called independent consultant to head up the inquiry, because Michael Coates-Trotter doesn't want to be anywhere near it because he knows it's a cover-up. But the real inquiry, which could take down the Premier, is a upper house inquiry of the New South Wales Parliament. And one of the key factors it's going to look at is the integrity issues that were followed in relation to former Deputy Premier John Barilaro's appointment to a $500,000 job in New York. Now, everyone knows there's a stitch-up. John Barilaro set up the positions, 5 positions overseas for trade ministers, and one of them was in New York. The position had already been appointed to a person, a lady actually, who was a former government employee. But she was moved aside after she had told her she was going to be getting the position. She was removed and it was re-advertised. And lo and behold, who got the job? Old John Barilaro. So it's a total utter stitch-up. It's a stolen job. He's in fact stolen it from her. It's $500,000, so you could argue it's fraud and theft. And it's something that the New South Wales Independent Commission Against Corruption should be looking at. And hopefully they will eventually look at it. But at the moment, there's a upper house inquiry this Wednesday, 29th of June 2022. And like I said, they will be looking at the integrity issues, probity issues, honesty, integrity of John Barilaro. Were those things looked at before he was appointed? Of course they weren't, because he's one of the most dishonest, deceptive, deceitful grubs you'd ever want to come across, old John Barilaro. Crook as, corrupt as, dodgy as. And as I've written before, and as you can see in the video in the article I published on Sunday, you can see him perjuring himself at the New South Wales Independent Commission Against Corruption, because the barrister representing the former Premier, Gladys Berejiklian, asked John Barilaro last year when he was in the witness stand about his previous intimate personal relationships. Now, she's asked him 3 times and he kept on ducking and weaving. The reason she asked him 3 times is because she knew, everyone knows, he's had multiple affairs with staffers when he was a minister. He's used government money to help facilitate those affairs with dinner, etc., and apparently jobs as well for the staffers that he was having affairs with. So he's in big trouble. Now, the reason he was giving evidence at ICAC last year is because ICAC were investigating an affair that the former Premier, Gladys Berejiklian, had with a former MP, Daryl Maguire, and what impact that had on her and her decisions that she was making financially in relation to his seat, and was there corruption happening? So if that was if ICAC were investigating that, they have to investigate former Deputy Premier John Barilaro in relation to his affairs and what decisions he was making in relation to the financial arrangements, spending money, jobs apparently jobs were going to his former, well, at least 1 or 2 of his former mistresses. So they're going to investigate that. So he's in a hell of a lot of trouble come Wednesday, because they have to raise those issues. Everyone knows that John Barilaro is having multiple affairs. Then there's also ICAC investigating grants that John Barilaro awarded companies associated with federal MP Angus Taylor. Once again, allegations of fraud, theft. Now, John Barilaro has tried to do the boogaloo over to New York, get out of town. The New South Wales government want him to get out of town because they know there's at least 2 federal ICAC investigations where he could be in a lot of trouble, because ICAC have also received evidence and a formal complaint in relation to John Barilaro perjuring himself last year in relation to him ducking and weaving in relation to the questions he was being asked regarding his intimate personal relationships. So he's in a hell of a lot of trouble, and he could potentially take down the government, or at least take down the current New South Wales Premier, Dominic Perrottet. Now, other than that, make sure you visit my website, Kangaroo Court of Australia. You'll be able to watch that video. You'll be able to watch John Barilaro ducking and weaving as he's getting questioned by the barrister who was representing Gladys Berejiklian, the former New South Wales Premier. And please share the article, please share this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can share the video on Twitter and Facebook, etc. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.